guys, it's Lisa, and it's been a while since I last posted. And since I took my sweet time kind of being more aware of habits and kind of the backstory, what's going on in the background, at least for me, I just wanted to share it with you guys. And who knows, maybe it's gonna help make sense of some of the habits we have, because I don't think we have just good habits. We have an array of habits. One of my lifetime habits is procrastination and not being organized. So it's something I'm working on. And for me, in order to do things, I have to understand how they work, kind of the background of what things are going in the background. So for me, the first lesson in kind of introducing new habits, which I would like to kind of say there are two types of habits. There's the ones that are beneficial to you, that actually bring you some joy or some good results, health-wise or mental-wise, enhance your mood, and those that are not beneficial to you. So they're not good and bad, just the results they convey to you. Based on that, I think it's a more holistic approach rather than saying it's good or bad. It's just it's beneficial or to you or not in the long run, because some things might be beneficial short term as well, like going to the gym, I don't know, 2 hours a day. Long term, it's gonna have a toll on your body if you aren't very careful of what you do, and how your joints and other things kind of are taken care of. So the first lesson that I learned, for me, it was kindness. I know it sounds kind of the opposite way of how things, well, for me at least, they've been done this far. I would have been very critical on myself for not doing things, and I think it's kind of a spiral. The more you beat yourself up, the less you have motivation to go on and do this, and the less you do that, the worse you feel about yourself. So it does have to do with your internal monologue, and if you were blessed enough to live in a very supportive family, or that never did anything wrong, or never lost their temper, or they were never busy, or they weren't aware, they were always aware, you're lucky. But I think most of us had, people around us that were people, and we kind of took the interior monologue, we modeled it after how people spoke to us, and not always in the best ways. At least this is how I found it for myself. It was interesting to find out I was I always knew I wasn't necessarily the the best talker to myself. I wasn't my best friend, so to say. I was very critical, and for me personally, to each their own, it wasn't beneficial. It kept me stuck. It kept me with very low self-esteem, just because I was repeating things that weren't beneficial to me. So kindness was something I had to learn, and it did take a long time and a lot of patience, because I think we're all suffering from instant gratification, and we forget as adults that learning the alphabet took time. Introducing something new into your life takes time. And we just want it right now, right here. We don't have the patience to wait. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by not being patient with ourselves. You wouldn't treat a 7-year-old kid learning the alphabet the way you treat yourself when you're introducing something new into your life. There's an awkward period where things don't necessarily click, or things just don't necessarily feel familiar. But that's why you're doing what you're doing. Things aren't going to be familiar from the get-go. Things aren't going to be easy from the get-go. And kindness and patience and very good kind of good way of talking to yourself and relating to yourself, I think is key, because those things are going to be triggered when you kind of introduce something that isn't familiar. Another important thing is when introducing something new, a new habit, get to the core of why you want to introduce that into your life. Is it because everybody else is doing it, or is it something that you actually want to introduce into your life? Make sure that the things that you're introducing for yourself. It could be out of curiosity, which mostly is what I do, because some things until you try them, you don't know how good or bad, what influence they have on you. So choose wisely. Another tip would be, lesson would be to remember the times that you did succeed in introducing something new, or you did change something that was bugging you, or something that wasn't necessarily good for you. Just knowing that you've done that before, it just, I find it for myself, it gave me reassurance that this is possible, I've done it before. But it's kind of, I had to kind of engineer backwards. What did I do, or what was my motivation, mental space behind it? And for most of the times that I did succeed in kind of introducing beneficial habits into my life, the resistance I had to change was less than the frustration I had. For example, with yoga, it did help a lot that I had an environment full of great people to inspire me. Most of all, the teacher I had, she inspired me a lot to keep going, to just to show up and just do a little bit by little bit. Exactly what I was telling you about learning the alphabet. It's just a little bit by a little bit. And it did help a lot to have that influence. But it was at a time where my frustration level was at a high, because I was my health, in a way, or how I was feeling, wasn't necessarily great, and I wanted to actually finally do something about it. So that in that particular instance, it clicked. Another habit that I introduced was successfully was meditating twice a day. I was lucky enough again to have a very good teacher, passionate about what he was doing, and somehow he conveyed that through the few days that we had with him, plus actually getting to feel the benefits and the benefits of doing the meditation. It just helped. So that's kind of another lesson. Believe that you've done it once with something, you're gonna do it again, but not necessarily then the stars need to align in order for you to succeed, but you have to have some of the elements in place that you had the last time. And kind of the fourth lesson is just trust in yourself, that you're going to get this, get through this and get through the awkward phases at the beginning, but also with all this kindness and all this patience. You might feel that you're not progressing, which is it's normal, because it's a different way of introducing things. Maybe before you were very strict, but with strictness, I think it's not a long-term solution. You can't be strict with yourself every day, all day, every day. At least for myself, I'm speaking from experience, to each their own. So also introduce accountability. Yes, you didn't do it today perfectly, or at all, not perfectly. You didn't do it today. Make sure you keep yourself accountable to try and do it the next day, without shaming yourself, without guilting yourself into it. Just try to approach it like you would talk to a friend, or a kid. Imagine you're the 7-year-old kid that's learning the alphabet right now, and empathize with that kid. it's gonna be difficult. It's not gonna be all roses, but keep on trying and keep on showing up. That's the most important. So I'm checking if I left anything. That's about it. I hope it helps. I know it did help me and gave me the courage to continue posting videos, even if I'm not the most consistent person yet. But that's a work in progress. Well, thank you and have a good